movie. It's a really weird concept. It's called Director's Cut, and basically it's this movie where you're getting director's commentary on the movie throughout the movie, but it turns out that there's sort of a dark underbelly where the guy giving the director's commentary is actually kind of evil and is a bit of a creep. It's directed by Adam Rifkin, which, if you've never heard of Adam Rifkin, I'm not terribly surprised. He's not a huge mainstream sort of guy, but one of my favorite movies that I've seen in the last 10 years was directed by Adam Rifkin. It's called Look, which is completely shot from the perspective of security cameras, like CCTV. So anyhow, just read here tonight that Penn got some distribution for the movie. It's supposed to come out sometime early next year, which I'm really excited about. See, I like that a celebrity at Penn Jillette's level, which it's not, he's not Brad Pitt, but he's also not, me. He can put together something that he's passionate about and get people on board. I guess that he raised all told $1.1 million for it or something like that. So they have the movie, it's all shot, but they weren't able to get distribution for it. Now they've found distribution, which is really exciting. And I like Penn a lot. I like most of what Penn and Teller does. I don't always agree with all of their sort of political leanings or what have you, but I really enjoy Penn and Teller. I really like any artist who's at that level, where they're really masters of their craft. I like Magic a lot, and Penn and Teller are a big reason as to why I do like Magic, because they take Magic and they show you sort of how it's done, but then you're still completely shocked and unaware of what you just saw. They very famously do the cups and balls, where you have 3 cups, 3 balls, and then they do a bunch of crazy stuff about it. So they'll do it the normal way, where you've got opaque cups and 3 balls, and they'll do the normal routine where they vanish the balls, but they show up all under 1 cup and all that sort of stuff. So they'll run through it, and then they'll do it a second time, but this time with clear plastic cups so that you can see literally everything they're doing. But yet at the same time, even though Penn is literally narrating every single step, you still don't know how they're doing it. It's amazing. So speaking of things that I want to see, teased it last week, the 30 for 30 Ric Flair. I still haven't gotten a chance to watch it. The reason is it's a real pain in the ass to see anything in Canada. It's a real pain in the ass to see anything if you don't have cable. More and more, we're moving towards a society that's cord cutting. Personally, I don't have cable. I cut the cord quite some time ago, and I don't really miss it, with the exception of live sports and then the occasional appointment television like this 30 for 30, and then local news, I guess, but I can catch most of that on the radio if I really want to, or through what I read. It sucks that so we have here in Canada, we have the CRTC, which for my American friends, that's sort of our FCC. And part of the CRTC's rules includes rules about Canadian content, and also obviously rights to show things that aren't Canadian content. So certain stations will have the rights to show American shows. So CTV will get their hands on, say, The Big Bang Theory. I don't know. The Big Bang Theory might be on Global. I don't know. I don't have cable. I don't watch it anyhow. Whatever. So CTV, just say, has the rights to show X, and you can't see show X anywhere else except for CTV and the properties that CTV owns. So CTV's crappy Netflix clone is the only place that you can catch show X, which means Canada's Netflix ends up sucking too. It's a real pain in the ass. It's been a bugbear of mine for years that we're moving towards a global world, like a global world. That's terrible. We're moving towards being more connected in the sort of global village, and the internet has made that so much easier. Frankly, I want to be able to pay for stuff. I want to be able to see things legitimately. I don't want to have to pirate. I don't want to have to stream illegally. But if it's not an easy thing for me to do, I completely understand why some other people go down those pathways. For the most part, watching Netflix, watching things on YouTube that are free to view on YouTube, watching things from websites where it is easily legally free for me to stream. That's just a little bit easier for me. It's less of pain in the butt to download things than it is to download things, I should say. So I don't go down that road as often as I might have when I was younger. But like, honestly, you want people to pay for stuff. Like, we're past the days of Napster, guys. Like, there's Spotify. I love my Spotify account. There for streaming music. I haven't felt the need to pirate music in I don't know how long. There is things like Netflix. They're more and more. Some companies are starting to get it where you can just stream online their specific channel if you want to see it. And like, that's something that I would definitely love to start doing, is start to stream like Sportsnet, Sportsnet, I should say, and that way be able to catch the sports that I want to catch and the live wrestling that I want to catch. But like, it's one of those things where like the traditional top-down cable companies are still trying to sell their wares, and we have this body, this appointed government body, the CRTC, that's saying, oh yeah, well, we'll help you with that, and the reason why is that they're filled with their friends. Okay, they're filled with ex-industry types who are more interested in making sure that the industry is strong than making sure that the Canadians have a good product. It drives me up the wall. The CRTC isn't connected with what the average consumer wants, and it bugs me. It has bugged me for years, and I'm sorry, I'm getting onto this weird rant that I'm sure I've lost you on. The point is, as soon as I can get my hands on 30 for 30 Ric Flair, one way or the other, I'll make sure that I give you my thoughts on it. What I've heard so far, fantastic. I guess that there's some really touching points. Ric Flair, he's lost a lot of things. He's been divorced something like 5 times or something like that, and he's lost a son. And I guess that's really really heartbreaking, but also very frank and very well done. But in the film, his contemporaries in the wrestling industry, the people that he's also influenced, which are numerous, because Ric Flair is the best that's ever laced up the boots. Apparently it's just been a fantastic, like, all the reviews that I've read have been absolutely stellar. I can't wait to watch it, but I can't watch it. Fuck you, CRTC. Okay, that's maybe enough ranting about the Canadian media landscape for 1 second. My millennial colors are showing a little bit too much. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping here for a second about the show. So I've had a couple of people asking me over the last few weeks how things are going with the show, and telling me that they've listened, and I really appreciate that, of course. But they've also had them ask me what the plans are for the show, if I want to monetize it, if I'm going to have ads, what the plan is. Honestly, when I started this show, when I had this idea, it was pretty much, I had a microphone, and I wanted to have the creative outlet of doing a show once a week, to have that deadline on me of putting a show out every Monday, and I didn't really put much thought into it beyond that. I've been having a real blast with this so far, and I anticipate that I will be going forward. There's always something to talk about, and that's the great thing about this sort of loosey-goosey format that I've put together. So what a few people have asked me about is Patreon, if I'm going to start a Patreon. And that's something that I've given some thought to. I also fundamentally find it really awkward to ask people for money. So if you don't know what Patreon is, it's a crowdfunding platform that allows you, the listener or the consumer of the media, whatever media it may be, to contribute directly to a show. You get some rewards on a monthly basis, and it's a monthly recurring sort of subscription that you pledge, and that helps the show grow in theory. So the idea would be I would use that money to buy more podcast space, to buy better equipment, to pay for those things that cost money, even though I'm sort of doing this as free as I possibly can at this point. So that is something that's coming. I'm not going to set a strong deadline for it. I'm not going to say that it's definitely going to be out by such and such a date. But I am going to put it to you. What kind of monthly rewards would you like to see? Some things that I've just sort of vaguely had in the back of my mind is, of course, a thank you on air. Maybe for a larger monthly contribution, you'd get a presented by credit. Of course, there'd be some Patreon-only content available to people who support the show. But if there's something that you can think of, just drop me an email, johndulangshow@gmail.com, and I'll definitely keep it in mind. I'll definitely take it under advisement, and certainly, it would be really great to know what you want, because if it's something that I can provide, that's great. What would this money actually go to? It would, of course, all those intangibles that I mentioned. It would allow me to upgrade some of the equipment, which would mean that I'd be able to have guests on a more regular basis. All in all, it would just sort of allow me to do this a little bit better, which, starting from zero, that's, I've got nowhere else to go but up. I think that's the big thing that we can both agree on here. And on that incredibly self-deprecating note, I'm going to call that a show. I want to thank you so much for listening to episode number 3 of The John Dulong Show. Of course, this comes out every single Monday, and you can find me on iTunes. And if you enjoyed the show, again, rate and review on iTunes. That helps bring more people into the show. You can follow me on Twitter at Jibberdy, Jiberdy. And once again, you can email me at johndulangshow@gmail.com. Once again, thank you so much. Next week, I'm hoping to have first ever guest on the show. I've got a couple of people in mind who have expressed interest. I'm going to be reaching out to a couple of them over the next few days to see if we can't set up something. First one will probably be over Skype, just because I only have one microphone, and the studio that I record in is my bedroom, and that's awkward. Really awkward. Really awkward. So for John Dulong, I'm John Dulong. And remember, poop jokes shouldn't be your favorite, but they should come in at a solid number 2. Thanks.